So, Sariah, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining the the Psyche Perspective podcast. So, if you could quickly introduce yourself to our listeners.
Well, good morning and afternoon and evening, wherever you guys are located. My name is Sariah Hastings. I am a published author. I am an advocate of human trafficking, and I am a founder of a nonprofit organization called Ashes to Beauty New England.
What does the organization do?
The organization is basically an ambulance, per se. If people, we feed the homeless and we help women and children and men who might be human trafficked to get off the streets and to get into a program to help them get their lives changed, like how my life was changed.
Oh my goodness, that's the Lord's work. Like
Yeah.
you guys are truly angels.
Amen.
So give us a little bit. You said that you are a victim of or a survivor of human trafficking. Do you mind just
Yeah.
giving us a quick
So this
quick
my story.
details about?
Yeah, so my story is completely different from other people's stories. I was raised around it all my life. At the age of 12, I was told that for me to have a boyfriend or ever be married, I would have to be in a pimp and hoe relationship. So that was how my life was raised around. I would be called fat, obese, whatever name you want to call me. That I was not the cookie cuttered Barbie doll type of girl. Had a nice shape. I've always been heavy, and so my family picked on me and made fun of me. And so growing up, that's all I heard. So when a man came to me and said, "Oh, I'm pretty," or "Oh, you look this way," or "Oh, you're nice," I fell for it, and that's how I entered into being human trafficked, and that's what my book talks about.
Oh my gosh. And what's the name of the book?
No
Just
more
for our
games.
listeners.
No more
Oh,
games. Because
I
it's
think I've
really,
seen it on Amazon.
yeah, it's really a game that you play. It's how, it's, am I going to live the next day? Am I going to survive the next day? Am I going to survive that day? There's many times women use drugs, get beaten, you name it, to suppress their emotions, their depression, their anxieties of life, of what's going on with them, because people think that women choose to go into this world, as I call the game. It's not chosen; they fall into it. I've told many people, when you as parents need to pay attention to your kids who are in college, because they send out these text messages and they say these things of, oh, if you have a um, if you have loans that you need to pay off, reach out to this number, and it's a text thread. And people and kids these days don't call no one, they just do texting, and so they fall into this trap of believing that there's extra money or they could get a job to pay off their student loans, and they enter into human trafficking. It's that
Oh
easy.
my goodness.
So it's a very easy predator prey game that they have out there. And so
Hmm.
I tell people that yes, there is a way out. Yes, you can get out, and the way I got out is by Jesus Christ. Someone came and I was tired, because I had been being trafficked for almost 20 years. So I got tired of the game. I got tired of playing Russian roulette with my life. And so they told me about Jesus, and I sat there and, I said, well, what's the worst thing that could happen about me?
Saraya,
Yes. Can you hear me?
Saraya. Yeah, it was frozen. Like me too. Like from the part you said, someone walked into your life and Jesus Christ saved you.
Yes.
It completely froze.
Oh, so yeah, accepted Jesus Christ, and I told her, I said, what's the worst case that can happen with me getting to know who Jesus Christ is? Everything else in this world failed. And we live in a world right now that we see everywhere around us, everything is failing. Money is failing, economically, everything is failing. So what's the worst thing to do is to get to know who this man Jesus Christ is that everybody talks about. So, almost 10 years ago, I was introduced to Jesus Christ, and ever since then, I went through a program, learned about who Jesus Christ was able to go to college, which I was told at a very young age that I would never be able to go to college. I was told that because of the seizures that I had in my brain, that I wouldn't be able to live to past the age of 5. So to
Oh my
be
God.
sitting here at the age of 35 and saying that I've graduated from college with an associate's degree in biblical theology, I've started a nonprofit organization to help people get off the streets and to share the love of Jesus Christ on podcasts, radio shows, any possible way to just tell people, yes, there is a way. His name is Jesus, and he will help you and save you if you allow him to.
Mhm. Oh my gosh, your story is uh, it just touched me. I don't know. Wow. So if you don't mind saying this, who was this person who first introduced you to Christ?
So her she is my mentor. She uh I still actually I just saw her this morning. So it's
Wow.
she's truly my mentor. Phyllis is her name, and I went to a pregnancy resource center. I was pregnant at the time. I wanted to abort my child, and she sat there and convinced me not to abort my child. And so when she told me about Jesus Christ, then I looked at her and I said, "Now what?" Because I'm homeless and I'm pregnant,
Hmm.
and you've convinced me to keep this child. Now what? And I have no money. And that's how she told me about the program. And so since I've gone through the program and I see the need for helping people who are maybe addicted to drugs, who are in that lifestyle of human trafficking, whatever it may be, even domestic violence, because it can end up in a domestic violence situation where you become depressed, you get on medication, use alcohol to compress your. That's where I felt the need that, what, we need people to show people, hey, there's another avenue, there's another way. You don't have to go through that. People are willing to walk with you. That's what a real Christian is. A real Christian does life with somebody. No matter if you're an asset or a liability, you're someone that is willing to do life with you, no matter how ugly it may get. And just sit there and say, you know what? Okay, this is what you're going through. Let's do it together. We'll get out of
Hmm.
this.
Wow.
Jesus says that he's with you in the valleys and on the mountaintops. It's not just all glamorous and gory and gay, praise Jesus, let me get all the blessings. No,
Yeah.
there are some valleys, and there are some times where you're by yourself, and there's also some times that you're in some wilderness. And there's a lot of people who don't know that part of Jesus, that yeah, he goes through those times. King David went through his times. Psalms 23 is that talks about it, where he says about being through the shadow of death, that I would fear no
Yeah.
evil. That he went through, people wanted to kill King David, and he sinned. He committed murder. He did adultery. There was all kinds of stuff that man did. But yeah, God says that he's a man after his own heart because he sought after God. Yeah, he made mistakes, but God forgave him. He didn't. He had to still get punished. He still had to get a correction for his actions. Like, that didn't go away, but he was forgiven. And so that's what we have. That's what we teach people. That's what the ministry that I do, the nonprofit that I do, is I show them, listen, I'll bring you to a home if you're willing to get off the streets. And I tell these people, you willing to get off the streets right now? Let's go. I got people that are willing to take you, and they'll take you
Yeah.
into a program and they'll help you out.
But yeah, that's amazing that you're doing this work. Like I said, from the get-go, that kind of work, it's an angel's work. Oh my goodness, I can only imagine the people's lives that you touch by doing this. But then it raises a question: how do these people cope? Do you guys offer like counseling? And because going from having a life when every day is uncertain to the to all of a sudden they have a home and they don't have to fear anymore. And I can only imagine the atrocities that have been committed to these people. How do you how do you approach it with these survivors? And or how did you approach it yourself?
So when I went through the program that I went through, it was a 2-year program, and the first thing they gave me was a Bible, and I read. You read the Bible, because once you get to know who Jesus Christ is, you get to see his actions. The way he is, he says that he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He was the same God 2,000 years ago. He was the same God when he created Adam and Eve. He was the same God when he created heaven and earth. He's the same God today. But you got to get to know that. You got to see that. You got to see other people. Those people that are written in the Bible were real people. So you got to see what their lives were like. Like I said, King David, he murdered people. There are many men that are out in these streets that have murdered people, that have assisted in murder. You name it, because if you do transactions with drugs and things like that, there's all kinds of ways that you could assist in murder and not actually have your hands on the person, but because of your actions and assisting or whatever, you could be a part of that. So at the end of the day, you deal with a man named King David who did a murder, and yet God forgave him. Yes, his children wanted to kill him. Yes, people wanted to come after him. Yes, that is what that's happened to him. He talks about it in Psalms. But you see God's faithful hand through the whole thing. So when you sit there and you realize, okay, you know what? This is what I'm going through. These are the things that I'm having issues. How do I deal with it? Yes, you go through that. But just like myself, when I have problems, I go to my pastor. I go to my pastor, and I seek the Lord, and I go to my pastor. I don't go and just willy-nilly, okay, I need this doctor and I need that doctor. I have this issue. I have that. No, no, no. I go and I talk to my pastor, and that was one of the ways I was able to forgive the people, that all my pimps and everybody that hurt me. I went to my pastor and I said, how do I show people grace? Because I was never received grace. What does grace look like? And he sat there with me. He explained to me. He said, Jesus died on the cross. It's funny that we're talking about this, because, yesterday was Good Friday, and
Friday, yes.
and he died on the cross for my sins, for your sins, for all of our sins, so that we be forgiven, so that we can have a relationship, not a religion, a relationship with Jesus Christ, to be able to love and to freely worship him, no matter in the good times or in the bad times, where we see his hand working or not. We serve him because we love him, because of what he did on the cross for us yesterday. And then to know that we serve a God who is alive, because he came to life tomorrow. And so when you get that concept in your mind, then it's like, okay, who am I not to forgive somebody who's done something to me? If my God forgave me of all it says, as filthy as our rags, he forgave us. The worst sin that we've ever committed in our life, he forgave us. No matter if you lived a lifestyle like me, or if you were even if you were in a and that's what a lot of people say to me. Oh, Sariah, we didn't live that lifestyle. There's some people that have been raised as Christians, they had a good life. Great, but you've lied. You've lied. There's people that have stolen. There's people that have watched porn. There's people that have done things that are hidden or hiding or not upfront and out in the open. And yet still he forgave those people. So when people realize that it don't matter how great of a sin, how small, how in your face it is, he forgives you. And then he allows you to come in, if you allow him to have a relationship.
Yeah.
Because he says he don't want no one to perish, but to have everlasting life. But
May I ask?
Yes.
How long were you in that human trafficking?
So technically, so if we calculate, it was a total of almost 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
But 8 years, as I said in my book, I officially started at the age of 18, but I technically was started being grooming when I was a kid.
But did I know this is such an ignorant question? Did like your parents or someone try to?
My whole family was involved with it. My whole family was involved.
Oh my God.
This is that's why I said my story is totally different. Like I said, my family is the one that said for me to have a boyfriend, I would have to be in a pimp and hoe relationship. What is a
What
pimp
a
and hoe
horrible
relationship?
thing to tell a child.
That's what does that mean? It means that the only way you'd have a boyfriend is if you was in human trafficking, because that's the only way you get a pimp and hoe relationship.
Hmm. Wow. And I have to mention, like, for people who not be able to see the video and do just listen, I've noticed something. I believe I'm really good with people, and I can tell a good person. And I think, Sariah, you're really a good person, because, and also the way you describe the people who stepped into your life and helped you turn your life around. Like when you're talking about your mentor, you smiled. You had this big smile on your face.
Yes.
When you talked about your pastor, and when you talked about Jesus, and you choosing to give your life to Him, it's just, it brightens you up, and I'm so happy, and I'm glad first that I get to talk to you. It's a
Awesome.
privilege, and
Amen.
also I hope more people actually listen to your story and see this. Like, it's amazing, because for me, thinking, I would think, or if someone had such a life, they would just be angry and uh like sour, and but
Yes.
you're a living testament that it, it's good. Like, life gets good.
It does if you
Life
allow
can
to.
be.
A lot of people they wallow in the woe is me and that victim mentality. Like, this is, this happened to me, and this, why did this and why did that? And if you live in that, then you don't experience the fullness of what God has for you. And so you sit there and you wallow, and then it becomes it becomes poison. It becomes like, that's why I don't really like saying that I'm a survivor, but I've overcome is really what
Oh,
I
you're a
say.
conqueror of
I,
life. You've
yeah,
conquered.
because at the end of the day, you're not about being a victim. Yes, that happened to all of us. There's so many. My testimony is one thing. And I try not to make it seem like my testimony is worse or whatever. I'm not here to try to pair with somebody who may be listening war stories. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to get people to understand and see that in 2021, the God that died on the cross over 2,000 years ago is living and breathing and can change somebody's life who was in a dark place, looking to die, not wanting to live, now have a desire to live. And not only have a desire to live, I want to help other people to want to have a desire to live. And
I can see the passion.
that's what it's really all about. It's about telling people, listen, open your eyes. The world that you live in, there is still hope, even when there's no hope.
Mm-hmm.
The world around us is crumbling. There's so much chaos. There's so much going on. You don't know what's left to right. You don't know what's up or down. You don't know anything. What is going to happen? There's something new every day. The government coming out new stuff with every day about something about this COVID stuff. Okay. But there's something greater. He says in his word that he is the healer, that he's a healer, that he loves us, that he healed us, that he took the stripes on the cross for us to be healed. He's Jehovah Rapha. So if he's the great healer, why are we believing what we see? Because we're supposed to walk by faith and not by sight. We're supposed to walk believing in Christ, knowing that he's already gone before us and conquered us, but we walk in what we see. And as people, when you do that, you then become fearful, and then you stop not trusting, and you start to doubt what you've already believed in your heart, and you've already gone. And so that's what I'm here. That's what I do on these podcasts, is to keep people's hope alive. Hey, there's still hope. There's still hope. Don't give up. Somebody wrote and said, I'm losing my faith. I'm giving up on my faith. Don't give up, because that's what Satan wants us to do, to give up. As Christians, they want us to give up. Don't give up. Keep
Mm.
pressing.
So in your nonprofit, the Ashes to Beauty, how many, like, young people or even older people do you feel like you help in, like, one in a year? Like,
It's a
so that
very,
our.
it could be from I've helped women that were in their 60s to women that were 19. 18. I've helped young. It's a broad, and it's not just women. There's, children. I talked to my youth group. I talked to teens. I just had a conversation the other day with a 15-year-old girl and stuff who was struggling, with wanting to make money, because of what she sees. And so, I sat and I talked with her, and I was real with her about, listen, this is what the life is all about. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to lose your ability to speak? And that's why I tell people, when you buy my book, you're hearing my voice, because for 20 years, my voice was silent. I couldn't say anything. I was told
Mm,
what to do, how to do it, when to do it. I was dictated to, and that was my life. And so
mhm.
I explain these to these teenagers. Are you ready for that? Because if you can't deal with your mama telling you something, how are you going to deal with a man telling you? And then if you don't do it, you get beat. So
Mhm.
there's something that's in there that you got to let them know. So it's a variety, a vast. I talk to men, and I explain that to men, because some men, they go through it for years of being molested and abused, and men don't want to speak about it because of the fact of what they've gone through, and because they feel like they've lost their manlyhood. So when they deal with those situations, they don't start speaking about it until they're in their 50s and 60s years old, but they've carried this pain
Burden.
all their life.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's amazing work that you guys are doing. I don't know. But in your introduction, you said that parents have to be mindful of like their girls or their teenagers or young adults as they go to college because these text messages are shared. Is the government doing anything regarding these messages to like intervene before these people are pulled
For
from
what?
society?
Why would
Like,
somebody stop something that's so lucrative?
oh my gosh. Wow.
Why would you stop something that is so lucrative? If you know that money is coming in, why
Mhm.
would why would you stop that? I talk about how, the owner of the Patriots got caught, at um, a sex at a uh, was a massage parlor out here in New England. He got caught, and it was a sex parlor. It was, prostitutes were in it,
Yeah, the
and it he paid it off, and you heard nothing else about it.
oh my gosh, that really enrages me.
So what's the point? You're dealing with, see, this is what people don't understand. You're dealing with all various types. This isn't just one level. This isn't just, oh, people that live in the projects, or oh, people that live in
Mhm.
the hood. No, 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 no. Women who, are esteemed in high, doctors, lawyers, nurses. I've seen many nurses who have gone being a nurse to being a prostitute because they're trying to,
Mm.
keep their high. And so
Oh my god.
if you can't have the money,
Oh.
most people, what they do is, after a point when the drugs take over their life, then they go out and prostitute, because they trying to keep their money, because they burnt all their money out. So that's where the prostitution comes in. So at the end of the day, you sit there and you go through these things, and so you look at it as, how are you supposed to work? How is this supposed to happen? How is this supposed to be one sector when politicians, lawyers, doctors, you name it, are all involved in this,
Oh wow.
right?
My gosh, it's heartbreaking because you think like these people are the ones there to protect the youth, to protect people from going into human trafficking. But oh my gosh, it just leaves me speechless. And I really like I want to spread your message farther and farther to alert people on the issue and also the survivors to be able to
Speak
to
up.
be where you are, to speak up exactly, and
They need
also
to start. They
heal.
the It can't just be one voice. There has to be many women, not women, just people in general, who have come out of this lifestyle and who is not afraid of what might happen. See, a lot of people, they don't want to speak up about what has happened in their life because they still have the fear of, oh, this person's gonna find out, or all that. No, 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 no. That's where you have your trust and your confidence in the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And I find something interesting you just said, that people tend to believe or think that, oh, human trafficking is a poor person problem, like it can't affect them. But anyone can fall victim to human trafficking.
Oh yeah, you have even people don't understand. It's so quick to fall into human trafficking. It boggles my mind that people don't understand. If you say you injured your back and you started using painkillers, and then all of a sudden those not working, then you go to Percocets, then you could be doing fentanyl to heroin. It leads that quick, and then when you're hooked onto those things and you can't make the money, what the best everybody knows, go and prostitute. And nowadays you have technology. So you used to be Craigslist, and then it was Backpage, and then Backpage got hit because not a lot of nonprofit organizations went to the government and said, hey, you need to stop this, and they finally did. They put a hold on it, but there's other websites that people type, boom, you make money. It's that simple. And that's why I say it doesn't matter where you come from. You could be any race, any nationality, any male or female. You could be young, old, middle age. It does not matter. It don't matter if your income is poverty, if your income is millionaire. You is easy to fall into this lifestyle. It's very dangerous and it's very scary. And when you get in, most women, because it's 85% women, 15% men. And when I say women, 85%, I'm talking about women and young girls, and 15% young boys and men. And when they get in, the first thing that comes to mind is, how do I get out of this? They get the money and they groom them, and it's okay for a first 3 months or whatever. But that first time they get beat, the first time they get yelled at, the first time that they get a gun pulled out on them, the first time they get a knife pulled out, first time that their boyfriend or whoever that they have is they're pimping them out, changes their whole attitude towards them, is when they would then say, how do I get out of this? Oh. Or they see somebody else get beat, and then the pimp says, there's an example. That's what happens if you do that. Those questions start to come in your mind.
So when it comes to the anxiety that from such an experience, the depression, all this, I know you said that you reach out to your pastor, but are there other resources that are there for people who are not, let's say, Christian, that could fall, that come to the Ashes to Beauty organization?
So some people will never walk into a church. So then you find people like myself, or you find, like I know many people in nonprofit organizations, like Route 101 goes into strip clubs, and they speak to women who are, in strip clubs, and tell them about Jesus. And, if they are struggling or whatever, they can help. There's a underground railroad ministry in Connecticut that they help children get out of the hotel rooms that are being trafficked. So there's many organizations. You have to reach out. You got to reach out. Like I tell, I have a website called Sariah.info. And on that website, it says at the bottom, if you know someone that is being human trafficked, or you yourself is being human trafficked, reach out. There's a link that you can send me an email, and it comes straight to me, and no matter what time of the day or night, and I will reach out and I will talk to you. If wherever you are at, there's so many organizations that I know that I can partner you with that can help you if you do not feel comfortable in going into a church, which a lot of people, I didn't. I wasn't a Christian. People think I was not a Christian when I came. Like I said, I was introduced to Christ. Who you see today ain't the same woman that was over almost 10 years ago, sitting before you. You know, I had to see his hand move in my life, and he's shown me time and time again who he is. So when you get to know that, but you got to find people who are willing to do life, willing to be able to be with you. The woman that told me about Jesus, she was willing to lose her job so that I could get into the program.
Wow.
That's when you know somebody is really about trying to save your life. And you know, and it doesn't matter where you're at. I've helped women who have lived in different states, and you know, and talked to them over the phone and stuff, and helped them and everything. It doesn't matter where you're at in the world or United States. It doesn't matter. If you need help, just go to Sariah.info, and that's why I named it that, Sariah.info, and you can reach out to me, and I will help you if you need help. And that's not just human trafficking, that's just in general. If you're dealing with depression, anxiety, PTSD, I dealt with PTSD. I don't have PTSD no more. So there's so much things that you know, if you're needing help, there can be help be found if you really want the help.
So in terms of resources, like for example, your nonprofit, what if one of our listeners says, oh, I would like to donate. I would like to do something to help the people, like, because I can only imagine that you guys require like to keep the roof over people's heads and all that. Where can people go? Is it still Sariah?
Sariah.info. You could go to Sariah.info, and there is a link on there. Is if you go down the main page, you'll see Ashes to Beauty, and you just click that, and it'll take you into trying to help and stuff. We collect all different types. However, you know, we are working on getting our 501c3 to be exempt with the government. So, you know, I do have pastors that are over me that are guiding me spiritually and working with me. So this isn't just a whim. Oh, I didn't know. It is a functioning process of this.
Okay, Sariah, I know that I did take up a lot of your time at the beginning. I would like to thank you. I would love to talk to you again soon. Like, honestly,
yes.
I think your message, your story, your energy, it needs to be spread out there. We need to do this again.
Yes.
I just don't want to keep you longer than I promised to. So thank you so much. Is there, like, apart from your website, and that I'm going to link in the show notes, is there any social media or anything that people can reach out to you if they can't?
They can go to my Sariah Hastings for Instagram, or for Facebook, and they can reach out. Like I said, it doesn't matter. There is on my website my interview with the 700 Club. So I'm not just, you know, I'm known. I've been out there, people, you know. So if you need help, like I said, I have no problem helping you.
Thank you so much, Sariah, and keep doing what you're doing, because holy, like, I think God is working through you in a billion ways. Like, honestly, you open my eyes to human trafficking. It's one of those things, you know, the news happens, and it's almost like once the news turns off, a lot of us forget. Like, it's almost like the news stops and then you stop. But having met you, I can promise you, I will do my research, and I will see how I can contribute to help other people who are ready or who wants to get out of the system.
And when you do that, and if you want to know steps on how to partner and how to because I know you're in Canada, what that looks like, and how even those women and how to get them out, please reach out to me, and I will help walk you through that process.
Definitely. Definitely, that's something that interests me, because, and like I said, it's work that I believe that should be on everybody's close heart, because I have sisters, I have brothers, I hope one day to be a mother. I have friends that I would never wish something like that to happen to them. Should it happen, I would want to have the resources to help them. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'll let you go, but definitely we need to schedule another meeting.
Yes.
So much
All
fun.
you have to do is just send me a message, and I have no problem. All right.
Thank you so much, Sariah.
God bless.
Have yourself a great one. God bless.
Yes, you too.